Hey everybody, what's up? Lex here again with another figure review, and I'm really excited about this one because it's WWE SAMI ZAYN Series 40 Elite figure complete with the NXT Championship belt. Man, this looks great. Still in the package, haven't even opened it up yet, but this is a figure that I've been anticipating. I was a huge fan of Sami Zayn's independent work, and I knew that as soon as he got signed with the WWE, one of my first things that I thought was, we're finally getting a figure of him. And this figure, at least from the packaging, looks to be incredible. But we here at Lex's Figure Reviews like to open our figures up and make sure they are indeed incredible. So let's take a look at the box, and then we'll get to opening up this fantastic looking figure of Sami Zayn. So Elite Series 40 has some brand new packaging. It has the Elite logo there at the very bottom. Sami Zayn's name diagonal on the left bottom there. Includes NXT Championship belt. There you see Sami Zayn with the belt and the WWE logo in the packaging behind him. And of course a warning hazard. And on the very top it says highly detailed action figure 8+ and the NXT logo. On the side of the box you have the Elite logo with Sami's picture and a very excited expression on Sami's face as usual. And then the NXT logo and the name Sami Zayn at the bottom. As for the back of the packaging, you have the rest of the superstars in Series 40, including John Cena, Tyson Kidd, Umaga, Rick Rude, and IRS. Some of those I am definitely looking forward to. Tyson Kidd and Rick Rude, definitely IRS included. And then we pan up and you see Sami's picture with his details, the NXT logo, his name, height 6'1", weight 205, signature move, the Haluva kick from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, career highlights, NXT champion. Panning up even more, we see the Elite logo and the official WWE sticker at the top. And on the other side of the box, we have the NXT logo, Sami Zayn's name, and the same excited picture expression on this side as well. Nothing down at the bottom. Alright, so first let's take a look at the NXT Championship belt, which currently you can only get with this Sami Zayn figure. It's the first time that this championship has been released with a figure. It's not even coming with the Finn Balor Elite 41 Demon Balor. This is the only place that you can get it right now. And I gotta say, this is beautifully done. Everything seems to be in place that I can remember. I'm going off memory of how the NXT Championship looks, but you have everything from the WWE side plates to the X's on the strap itself. I mean, this is highly detailed, it's great, and honestly, the NXT Championship may be the coolest looking belt in all of professional wrestling right now, and it's very cool that it came with this Sami Zayn figure. I mean, if you wanted to be really, really nitpicky, it doesn't have the little gold buckles at the top and the bottom of the strap. It does have a spot where they're like molded out, but it doesn't have the actual buckles around them, or the little whatever they're called. But that's a very small gripe. Honestly, it's a great looking belt. Alright, so now let's look at the figure, and right off the bat, this is one of my favorite figures I've ever had. It honestly looks just like him. The scan is incredible. Everything down to the detail in the chest hair, the intricate design on the tights, the simple boots. But you know me, I like to go in depth with a figure. I like to look at it up close, and we're always going to start with the articulation, because articulation to me is extremely important. Alright, so articulation, you have head, up and down, left and right, side to side, all around. You have arm, outward and upward. You have bend at the elbow, swivel at the wrist. You have the torso crunch here, the swivel at the waist, the thigh movement up and down, left and right, knee movement. You have a double joint here. It's hard to see because of the knee pad, but Elite figures have two joints in the knee. You have swivel at the shin, and up and down, and a little bit of side to side with the ankle there. So let's talk a bit about the face scan. I personally think it's fantastic. I think it's great. I think the facial hair and the hair itself really give shape to the figure and make it look like Sammy. But everything else is perfectly fine. Sammy's not necessarily a difficult face scan to do, I would assume. It's not like he has features that are too distinct besides the facial hair. If you look on the back, you know, even then, you know, good stuff. You probably could have done a Daniel Bryan custom, well, the SAMI ZAYN custom with a Daniel Bryan Elite figure if you wanted to. The face molds are pretty similar to the older Daniel Bryans, the one from 4 or 5 years ago. So panning down here, we got the chest hair, which is always weird on figures. Usually the chest hair is not done right. It's usually, sometimes they try to do it with felt. I remember Jax tried to do it with felt one time, and it just looks weird. Usually drawn on, doesn't look just right. But with these Mattel figures, because the plastic isn't super shiny like the Jax figures were, the chest hair kind of looks a lot better, and I think it looks great on this figure. Usually chest hair doesn't work out, but it does here. So you have the white wristbands as well, nothing really special about those, but the tights are definitely the most loud thing on this figure, and you've got the S and the Z, kind of the inverted checker design on each leg, and then the Arabic writing right there in the front. And then on the back here, if we take a look, more SZ checkered inverted designs. And so this is where the figure gets kind of points off. The reason, and this is being really nitpicky because from afar you can't really tell, but when you do black paint and then white designs over it, you're gonna have bleed through, you're gonna have some chipping sometimes. There is some minor bleed through on this figure if you look up close. So on the back of the tights you can see that the SZ kind of bleeds through the top design there, and on the checkerboard design on the pants you can see that the paint probably could have been applied a few more times to get it to really stand out on this design. You can see a little black showing through there. And as for the front of the design, it's a little harder to see, but there's a little tiny bit of bleed through on that front design on the Arabic writing, and then similar to the back on the bottom down here on the white checkerboard, you can see a little bit of black bleed through. This is nothing major, but it's still something I do have to point out. And then on the boots here, you can see that there's a bit of paint chipping there at the top. Bleed through isn't bad on this. There's a couple of paint chips down there at the bottom, right here, and then one in the middle. That looks pretty good on that boot. There's a white spot there on this boot. And this is probably where it's the worst. Right here is where the paint chipping is. But you know, if there's gonna be paint chipping, I'd rather it be on the boots. And here you see Sami wearing the NXT Championship belt. So my final thoughts on this figure are that it's a fantastic figure, and not only that, and I didn't discuss this earlier when doing the articulation, but the articulation on this figure is a dream. It's beautiful. The biggest worry I had on this figure is that the thigh joints would be stiff, that they'd be, you know, kind of clicky, but that's not really the case. Out of all the figures that I've seen for Elite, these are probably the best thigh joints I've ever seen, which is crucial if you're going to play with this action figure and try to do the haluva kick. You need that articulation, and this figure has it. The arm, the right arm, I'll get to the left arm. The right arm worked great, which is usually not the case with these figures right out of the package. The ab crunch was smooth, and everything else was just dreamy, except for the left arm. The left arm would not move up or outward when I first took it out of the package. I really had to be gentle with it, but at the same time try to force it out to get it to actually articulate, and now it does. So overall, the articulation on this figure is probably the best I've seen out of all the Elite figures that I've personally held in my hands. The NXT Championship is gorgeous. Glad it came with the Sami Zayn figure. I think a lot of people were really wanting this NXT Championship belt. That alone makes this figure, you know, a very desirable figure. You know, it's Sami Zayn. That's going to make it desirable on its own, but the fact that the belt comes with it is definitely going to be a good collector's item if you never want to take this out of the box and open it like I do. I can completely understand that, that's for sure. The painting and designs on this figure, while not perfect, are pretty darn good. The chipping on the boots was kind of a bummer. The bleed through on the tights, although it's not really bad, definitely not the worst I've seen, is still something that you need to be wary of. But all in all, if you're a fan of Sami Zayn, if you're a fan of that NXT Championship belt, I highly recommend grabbing this figure. So far out of the figures that I've reviewed and opened, this is my favorite figure. Sorry, Bailey, but Sami Zayn gets the nod. Thanks for watching another Lex figure review. Like this video if you want to see more figure reviews. I've got a lot more on the way. Subscribe to stay tuned to all the figure reviews that come out. Stay tuned at the end of the video to see which figure I review next. And until then, see you later, folks.